young, I knew that I was meant for big things. I'm talking like I'm money Mitch, but without the drug scene, never lacked the confidence.
Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome back to the Dubs Only Podcast, episode 4. And we took a little while off just because a bunch of NBA news was going on, and I was just waiting for everything kind of like to surface so we can do just one big episode. So that's what we have here. And today's episode is really going to be about free agency and what went down this past weekend. A bunch of big moves, bunch of smart moves, just a bunch of movement in general. And let's just begin with our top 3 teams. We'll say top teams. I will say our top teams that who I think won free agency so far after the first weekend. So I'm going to go with number 3 being the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns, what they really did was bring back pieces from last year, such as Kogi. They brought back Damian Lee. They added Eric Gordon today. You got Bradley Beal. So, I mean, you got your three-point shooters. They added Yuta Watanabe or Yuri Watanabe. Watanabe from the Brooklyn Nets, who was one of the best three-point shooters in the game last season. They added Eubanks, a proven NBA veteran. Also a great not great 3-point shooter, but consistent 3-point shooter. And I saw a post somewhere where they said that the Phoenix Suns now have 9 players who shot over 30, high 30s from the three-point line last season. So what I'm seeing so far is that they're going with the 3-point attack. They're gonna go live by 3, die by the 3, because we know Bradley Beal, we know Kevin Durant, we know Devin Booker all can shoot the mid range and shoot off the dribble. But these other guys they're more of catch and shoot threes. Watanabe catch and shoot, Eubanks catch and shoot, Damian Lee catch and shoot, Eric Gordon he can shoot off the dribble, but preferably he's a catch and shoot player now at this point in his career. So what I'm seeing is that because we're gonna have Devin Booker, we're gonna have Kevin Durant handling the ball majority of the time, that's gonna command a lot of double teams. So with those double teams, you're gonna have people open. What kind of person do you want to leave open, especially in this type of game, in this type of era that we're in, where it's all about spacing? You're gonna want 3-point shooters. So when you have the double, you're gonna have someone open. If you have a 3-point shooter, it's gonna kill a defense. So that's gonna force defenses to go, instead of the double team, they're gonna have to play straight up or find out some different type of strategic scheme to prevent the unopen 3 or to prevent a one-on-one, such as maybe going to a zone, maybe going to a matchup zone. So I'm seeing that the Suns are going just towards live by the 3, die by the 3. They added Frank Vogel, who's a defensive-minded coach. What we saw from last season in the playoffs, especially against Denver, they really couldn't play defense. They didn't have no one who could really play defense. That's why you saw those multiple blowouts, especially in the last game against game 6 against the Nuggets. So I'm just seeing 3-point shooting, and that's what I'm gonna take away from that. But other than that, great pickups, especially to a team that's who I see as loaded, especially with talent. Like I said, Eric Gordon, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Cameron Payne, Josh Okogie, just a bunch of ballers. So it's gonna be fun to see how that's gonna end up. Number 2 team that I have, shout out to my boy Avi Kargloth. We're gonna have the Cleveland Cavaliers. And why do we have the Cavaliers? Because one, they're my favorite team coming out of the East. Not coming out of the East. We'll say they're my favorite team from the East. You have a Darius Garland. Let's look at their core. You have Darius Garland. You have Donovan Mitchell. You have Evan Mobley. You have Jared Allen. Really, what they're missing is that wing. So what they end up doing, they got a sign and trade for Max Strus. They got George Niang, and they brought back Karis LeVert. So from those 3 players, what I'm seeing is most likely you're going to start Max Strus at the 3. We saw what he did in the finals. We saw what he did in the playoffs. We saw what he did, especially in Game 7. It was in the Boston series. He had one of the craziest games, one of the best games of his career, one of the best games in playoff history, where he just went berserk and was shooting out the game. So I see that's also what the Cavaliers are missing. They're missing that 3-point shooter, that consistent knockdown 3-point shooter like they had before when they had a J.R. Smith, when they had a Channing Frye, and that's exactly what they're gonna have now, especially with George Niang. You're gonna have off the bench, who proven 3-point shooter. Who is a proven 3-point shooter off the Philadelphia 76ers. Again, Max Strus. Let's see what Max Strus's stats were. So with the with the Heat last season, he shot 35%. But let's see what his playoff stats were. So in the playoffs, Max Strus was 31% from the three. But still, we know you can't leave him open. He's a player that you cannot leave open. Once he's streaky, but once he gets hot, he's hot, and it's over with. And then you have Caris LeVert, who I see as a viable 6th man of the year candidate, especially for next season. I mean, here you have a guy who can give you 20 points off the bench. When he's feeling it, man can go for 40 like he did last season in a couple games. So I'm really liking what the Cleveland Cavaliers did, especially with last season, how they ended the year. I mean, you had so much promise after the Donovan Mitchell trade, and then to lose to the New York Knicks in the first round. I didn't see that coming, but I'm very excited to see what the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to do. And Avi, if you're watching this, Cavs are my favorite team out the East. So let's go, baby. Let's go. And then the number one team who I think won free agency or is winning free agency as of right now, the Los Angeles Lakers. And this should be number one on everybody's list, just for the fact that they're bringing back the team generally what they had last season to end the year. The team that they traded for and were able to go on this run to the to the conference finals. So you bring back a Rui Hachimura, you bring back an Austin Reeves, you bring back a D'Angelo Russell, you add a Jackson Hayes, you add a Cam Reddish, and you add a Taurean Prince. All this to a LeBron James. So what do LeBron teams usually what do they usually have when they're winning? Shooters. What do we have? We have shooters in Austin Reeves. We have a shooter like we saw in Rui Hachimura. You have a shooter in Taurean Prince. You have a shooter in Cam Reddish. And I don't know if I mentioned, but D'Angelo Russell. And oh my gosh, I forgot about him. I forgot about Gabe Vincent. Yeah, another shooter in Gabe Vincent. So you have 5, 6 3-point shooter, viable for 3-point shooters out there right now. So I'm very happy with what they're doing. What I'm seeing is that it's more of carrying the load off LeBron by having these additional scorers, especially 3-point shooters, to space the floor, give room for LeBron to work in the post or drive in, because as we saw, LeBron is always going to be and always will be, in my opinion, the best, the greatest driver of the basketball. I mean, no one can guard that train, right? Especially coming full speed, and especially now in his career where he's just grown man strength. I mean, we saw no one could deal with him in the post on one-on-one. Just power down, post spin, up layup, easy work. So I'm excited to see what the Lakers, how they will be. So it's basically bringing the same team back, just adding a few depth pieces. But overall, I'm excited to see what this team does. I'm excited to see how they'll fare. And we saw what majority of these players could do during the short span. So let's see what they can do in a full season length. And I forgot about Jared Vanderbilt again. So Vando, you got Vanderbilt still. If he can knock down that corner three, that's just going to make this offense so much more dangerous. And as of right now, what I'm seeing as the potential starting lineup is you have D'Angelo Russell. It's going to be the same as the playoff lineup, which is going to be D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, LeBron, Vando, and AD. And speaking of AD, I honestly think that this is going to be the most important year of AD's career. And I feel like we've been saying that since the 2020 championship, because we've been waiting for AD to go ahead and take the reins from LeBron. And LeBron has said it himself. Now, he hasn't said it, but I'm sure he has said it to AD privately that, hey, man, this is your team now. I want you to take the flame, take the torch, and just run away with it, man. You have all the talent in the world. You have the game. You have the defensive prowess, offensive prowess. And it's just all up to him to put the pieces together. So I'm hoping this is going to be Anthony Davis coming out year where he just says, okay, I'm taking this as the number one option, as he should, because this is what the Lakers envisioned when they made the trade, knowing that LeBron wasn't going to be here for another 5 years, and that was going to be Anthony Davis's team. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Anthony Davis can do start at when next season tips off, and let's just see how it goes. So that's my list for teams who I see winning free agency as of right now. You have the Phoenix Suns at 3, you have the Cleveland Cavaliers at 2, and you have the Lakers at 1. Draymond Green, who's saying with the Golden State Warriors, which should not be a surprise. As we said in the last podcast, that when we saw it, we were surprised that he did opt out, just because we thought, how are you going to walk away from that much money? But in the end, it does make sense that he did that in order to make a long-term extension and make this offseason more feasible, you would say, to give the Warriors more money to spend in the offseason. So, and also what it looks like is that Draymond is going to retire a Warrior, because he signed what did he sign for? He signed a 4-year, $100 million contract. Draymond right now is 33. By the time this ends, he'll be 37. It looks like. So I think, yeah, once his contract ends, it's over. I think he's gonna call it a career, and yeah, that's what I'm predicting. And we also got to talk about the Chris Paul trade. I mean, the Warriors traded away Jordan Poole, which we can get into in a little bit on why he was traded, with what was the reasoning behind it. So you got rid of Jordan Poole for Chris Paul, for an aging Chris Paul. And right away when I seen that, I thought to myself, if this is gonna work, or if I'm Steve Kerr and I'm thinking how he was gonna manage this situation, I would say that Chris Paul is coming off the bench and running the second unit, or he is. He's gonna come off, I would have him come off the bench. And with that, I would have him either come out for Clay, come out for Steph. So Steph and Clay don't have to log those minutes. They kind of they can evenly share those all those minutes. And then it just gives the younger players such as Kuminga, it gives what's that guy's name? Kuminga, and Moody. So so I think what Chris Paul is gonna bring is just gonna bring that veteran leadership, which they don't really need per se, just because you have Steph, Clay, and Draymond who have done it, been there, done it. You also put Kevon Looney in there too, because he's been there, done it with them. But what Chris Paul is going to bring is just that extra veteran leadership just to them, as well as to the young players. He's going to be great for the second unit. I kind of see this as how Rondo was with the Lakers when they went on their title run in 2020. That's kind of how I'm picturing this to play out, because when you have smart players such as Draymond, Steph, Clay, Chris, it just has to work out, because when you have such high level of basketball IQ, they're gonna figure it out one way or another. And to me, just the games the way they run the offense it's I don't want to say it won't fit, but it's very opposite of how Chris Paul plays. Chris Paul is, I want to say, around high 30s in his age. He's up there in age, and he's not running up and down the court, which how the Warriors like to play, especially jacking up all those threes. So Chris Paul is more of a half court offense type player. Can he run the break? Yeah, he can. Can he do it every time? No. So that's where I'm gonna see. That's why I put him on the bench. Let him run the offense. Let him get everybody in their right space. Let everybody feel comfortable, because even at such a high age, you still have to worry about Chris Paul with that mid-range game, with him being able to pass the ball, him being able to draw fouls, him being able to still shoot. It's just, he has the whole complete package. So I just think he's also gonna help the Warriors. And just in general, with the whole Western Conference, if what I've seen just from all these, is from everybody adding and everybody signing, making trades and stuff like that, it's going to show you the fact that everybody playing catch up to Denver. Everyone wants to be able to play, or not play like Denver, but I want to say everybody wants to be able to match up with Denver on a skill level, on a team level, just because right now they're the epitome. They're the top of the food chain. They're the top dog that everybody's trying to go for, and we see with the Western Conference. I mean, you go from 1 to 10. Anybody can be in those. Anybody in the Western Conference can honestly make 1 through 10 seed. You have the up and coming teams like the Phoenix, not the Phoenix Suns. What am I saying? Like the Thunder, who are coming up. You have the Timberwolves who are also coming up, but so it's gonna be fun to see. I'm excited to see how the Western Conference is, and I've just been loving all the movement because of the Denver Nuggets. Honestly, I'm just glad to see all this happening. So next thing we got is D Rose going to the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, first thing when I thought about this was, yes, D Rose is going to be on a championship level team, a team who's going to be a contender. But also, what I'm seeing is you have the present and then you have the past. You have John Morant, you have Derrick Rose. Basically, identical games, style of play, it's identical games to the way that D Rose used to play and John Morant plays as of right now. Pre-injury Derrick Rose. You have athleticism, you have speed, you have the acrobatic layups. You basically see if you look at Derrick Rose and you look at John Morant, you're looking at a mirror. You're looking at the same player. Now, also what I like the benefit is that Derrick Rose can play that mentor role, just like just like how we said a Marcus Smart would play. We had you have a MVP. You had someone who's been to the NBA Finals. You had someone who's also been to the conference finals. I mean, just think of those three right there. You have Derrick Rose, Marcus Smart, and John Morant. Especially with all the off-court issues that Morant has been having over the past few years, or past year, past year, I think it's going to be just a good guidance, good mental guidance, good big brother guidance, just good guidance in general to get him to not have those off-court issues and just more pay attention to the game and kind of be grateful for the position that he's in and not take it for granted. So I really like the signing for those two reasons, and hopefully they all work out because the league is exciting when John Morant is in the league, is there and playing at his highest potential. So great on Derrick Rose going over there. Let's go to the next one, which is Westbrook staying with the Clippers on a 2-year, $8 million contract. Now, he took the hometown discount. Do I see any other team that was going to pay Westbrook big money to go to their team? No, not really, because I don't see Westbrook on. I think teams, I don't want to say they disrespect Westbrook, but I want to say that they see Westbrook's style of play as not winning basketball. And proof is in the pudding. When he was solo, I wouldn't say solo. When he was the main guy in Oklahoma City, first round exits. Houston, first round exit. With the Wizards, how far did he go? I don't think he went to the playoff. Oh, he went to the play-in, I say. But first round exit. So Westbrook has never gone to the past second round on his own, besides Kevin Durant, since Kevin Durant's left him. And I think, honestly, this is the best chance that he does have to win a championship. I think Westbrook now sees that, okay, I can't be the number one option. I got to play third fiddle because behind Kawhi Leonard, behind Paul George, you're not going to be the number one guy with those two guys right there. They're going to get the boatload of the shots. Now, can he be the main decision maker? Yeah, he can because he does know how to play make, but can he get too crazy, too fast for himself? And when I say fast, when I say he goes too fast for himself, he doesn't contemplate other options. Rather just go, I'm gonna go with option one, and if option one isn't there, then we're just gonna go there. He doesn't think like, oh, I have option two right there, I have option three, this is the backup option. No, none of that. And I don't know if you guys can see, but this guy is just knocked out. But Westbrook, we'll see how it works out. We know how him and Paul George can play together. We see how Westbrook been playing in the playoffs without Paul George and Kawhi when they went down. Hustle, heart, passion. You can't knock the guy for that. But what I can knock him for is just his IQ, basketball IQ, and just just relying on his athleticism instead of being able to play the game of basketball. So hopefully he gets it together. Hopefully the Clippers all together with the whole year in unison that they're able to do their thing. So the biggest headline that we've seen this whole weekend was Damian Lillard finally requesting out of Portland. Now, what were my first thoughts, my initial thoughts on this? It was bittersweet because you want to see a guy who's been loyal to one franchise, who's been saying, "I'm not gonna go join a super team. They can come join me, but I'm not leaving." Seeing a guy loyal, seeing someone who wants to win it for the city, winning for the city that drafted him originally, and doing so for so many years, you want to see a guy come out on top, like a Dirk Nowitzki scoring. Like, we value that championship so much more compared to other championships, which doesn't make sense. But when you look at the background story behind it, it does make sense in a way because every championship is special in their own unique way and how they're won. But yeah, I'm glad to see Dame wanted out. We have someone at Dame's caliber. You just want to see a player like him ball out, him on the biggest stage. Because the biggest stage that we saw Dame thus far is just on the Western Conference Finals when he went up against the Warriors without Kevin Durant. But they weren't able to win a game that year. I mean, all those games were competitive. They were close. But in the end, Steph Curry is Steph Curry. Klay Thompson is Klay Thompson. And Draymond Green is Draymond Green. And that's no knock on Dame because that team was beating everybody at the moment. So glad to see Dame. And speaking on that, let me just talk about my favorite Dame moment from his career. Now you can go with the 71 points from this season. You can go to the All-Star shootout. You can go to the the shot against Paul George, getting to the Western Conference Finals. You can go put all those shots, all those games as moments. But my favorite moment personally was the year when I first found out about him in 2013, his rookie year, was when he went up against Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers. This was a couple games before Kobe tore his Achilles, when the Lakers were fighting for that 8th seed, and he guaranteed that we were going to make the playoffs that season. And they both had a duel. Dame went for 38 points, was just shooting out the gym the first half, making every three, making it look easy. Hesitation between the legs, layup, going off the dribble, off step backs three, making corner three, catch and shoot, just doing everything. And then you had Kobe Bryant, the aging veteran who was still trying to prove that he still has it, still in the game, still can play at a high level at his age. And you had Dame who went for 38 points that night, and Kobe who went for 47. And I'll play a couple clips down low just so we can see like how that duel was going. If you remember the game, if you do, go ahead and comment or just comment what's your favorite Damian Lillard moment. We'll say that. But salute to Dame. Hope everything works out because, again, as a player of your caliber, I think fans will be I think fans are being robbed of not seeing you in greatness moments to witness what you are able to do. And that's gonna wrap up the episode 4 of Dubs Only Free Agency Edition. We didn't go over every team or big moves, extensions, and all that, but once we see some more movement, once we see Summer League, we're gonna do some more stuff, and just stay tuned because this is just the beginning. So appreciate everybody who's been watching, tuning in, like, share, subscribe, send it to your friends, parents, girlfriend, baby mama, any of that stuff. It don't matter. Just go ahead and share. Appreciate y'all. Have a blessed week. Much love. Dose.
Song like almanac, face the fact, don't you go and waste all that. I can roll another blunt, you know I roll them extra fat. Ain't no cap, she wants a message back, ain't no chance. What I'm saying in my mind, I ain't worried about no hoe, cause I'm staying on my grind. Got no time, I'm trying to shine, make a fortune on my rhyme. Sour face, looking like